The screen flickers once, twice, and then it holds. You don't move. You don't breathe. Your back is pressed against the cold concrete of the interior wall. Your knees pulled to your chest on the floor of a room that is dark, except for this rectangle of light, balanced on a stack of blankets in front of you. This small screen, attached by a wire to something your older neighbor called a no-tell, a portable player no bigger than a lunchbox. And on it, right now, people are moving and talking in a language that is almost Korean, but not quite. And the room they are standing in has walls the color of warm bread. And on the table behind them, there is a bowl of fruit that contains more fruit than your family has seen in a season. And none of it, none of what you are watching, can possibly be real. Your neighbor's hand is on your shoulder. She is 14, and you are 11. And she has seen this before, once, at someone else's house. And that is why she is the one who knows how to hold the wire at a certain angle to keep the signal. She doesn't speak. Neither do you. The room smells like the coal dust that coats everything here. The walls, your clothes, the inside of your lungs. And outside, past the single window with its paper-covered glass, the street is dark because the electricity stopped 3 hours ago, which is why the no-tell runs on batteries, which is why she had to save those batteries for 6 weeks, trading a pair of her mother's work gloves for them. You watch the people on the screen. You have been taught what the outside world looks like. You have been taught this carefully, in school, in the study sessions your Inminban unit holds on Wednesday evenings, where the block monitor reads from the approved materials. Outside, people suffer. Outside, children go without shoes. Outside, the capitalist system devours the weak, and the Americans bomb everything they cannot steal.
You've seen the drawings in your textbooks. Skeletal figures under an American flag, hollow-eyed children reaching for rice that isn't there. You know what outside looks like. You have always known. What is on this screen is not that. The woman speaking is wearing a yellow coat. Not a work coat, not a padded jacket with the collar worn through. A yellow coat, with buttons that are almost certainly plastic, but look, in this light, like they could be something finer. Her hair is cut in a way you have never seen, and she is walking through a space that might be a market. Except the market in your town is 3 concrete stalls and a woman who sells dried radish from a sheet on the ground. And this space has a ceiling, and the ceiling has lights. Lights, real lights. Not the rationed fluorescent flicker that comes on for 2 hours in the evening. And under those lights, there are piles of things. Piles and piles of things. Vegetables stacked in colors you do not have names for. Bottles of things. Rows of packaged goods extending back farther than the camera can follow. The woman in the yellow coat picks something up without looking at the price. She puts it in a basket without counting anything. She is not performing wealth. She is not demonstrating anything. She is just shopping. Your neighbor adjusts the wire. The picture steadies. You have been taught that South Korea is a place of poverty and American occupation, that its people live in misery, that they envy you. They envy your stable system, your leadership, your juche spirit of self-reliance. Your teacher says this. The Wednesday Reader says this. The portraits of the leaders on every classroom wall seem to confirm it by the simple fact of their presence, their certainty, the way their eyes follow you no matter where you stand in the room. You have never had a reason to doubt any of it. You have not had access to anything that would constitute a reason. This is a reason. You know, somewhere below thought, that you should not be watching this. The penalties for possession of foreign media are a fact you have absorbed the way you absorbed everything else the state taught you. Not as a rule you learned, but as a gravity you were born into. People have disappeared for this. You don't need to be told that in so many words. You know the way children always know the things they aren't supposed to know, through silences, through the sudden change in an adult's expression, through the empty desks at school that no one explains. Your neighbor is watching the screen. You are watching the screen. The batteries have enough charge for maybe 40 more minutes. What happens in the next 40 minutes is that the drama continues. It is a South Korean drama, though you won't know that word for years. And 2 characters argue in a kitchen, and even the kitchen is something your brain cannot fully process, because the kitchen has a refrigerator and a gas range and a window that looks out over a city that is lit like something is on fire, except nothing is on fire. That is just the normal light. That is what it looks like when every building has power all the time. The characters argue about something ordinary, a misunderstanding between two people. Neither of them is hungry. Neither of them mentions food once. Neither of them says anything about the leaders. Halfway through a scene where someone is driving a car, a private car, just a person driving their own car through streets that are damp and clean and lined with lit signs, the thing happens that you will spend years trying to describe to people who were not there. You understand suddenly that you are not watching fiction, not in the way your neighbor meant when she whispered, "This is real. This is real South Korea." You heard those words and your brain placed them in the same category as things adults say that cannot be confirmed. No.
You understand it in your body before you understand it in your mind. The way the car turns, the ordinary way the driver's hands move on the wheel, the specific, unremarkable detail of a coffee cup in the cup holder. Drama does not put unremarkable details in the frame. Propaganda does not include details that don't serve the message. Only reality includes a coffee cup in a cup holder for no reason. Because reality doesn't know it's being watched. Reality doesn't know it needs to make a point. This is real. And if this is real, if the lit streets are real, if the yellow coat is real, if the market with no empty stalls is real, then the other thing is also real. The other thing is the thing your brain has been holding at a distance since the screen first flickered on. The thing you have not let yourself look at directly. The thing that is too large to look at directly. If this is what outside looks like, then everything you have been taught about outside is not true. And if everything you have been taught about outside is not true, then the people who taught it to you either did not know, or they knew, and they taught it anyway. 11 years old, concrete floor, coal dust in the air. The screen is still going. The car is still driving. Your neighbor is still holding the wire at exactly the right angle, because she knows from experience that if she moves it, the picture breaks. She doesn't look at you. Maybe she already went through this the first time she watched. Maybe she knew this was coming and couldn't warn you because there are no words for what it feels like when the map you have been given your entire life turns out to be a map of a country that does not exist. You think about your teacher. You think about the portrait on the classroom wall. You think about the Wednesday study sessions, the reader's voice, the approved materials, the way the lessons always ended with the same formula. We are the most fortunate people on earth. And you have said those words. You have believed those words. You have felt them as something true and solid the way you felt the reality of the ground under your feet. The batteries are running lower. There is maybe 10 minutes left. Your neighbor is calculating this by something she can see on the side of the player that you can't see from where you're sitting. You know from her face that you should be preparing for the screen to go dark. And you know that when it goes dark, the room will still be the same room. The coal dust will still be in the air. The street outside will still be dark because the electricity is off. Your family will still be asleep in the next room. Nothing in your world will have changed. But you will not be the person you were an hour ago. You understand this. You are 11 years old, and you understand this completely. What you do not understand, what you will not understand until you are much older, until you have crossed a river in the dark and lived in countries you were told did not exist, until you have had years to sit with it, is the thing that is already beginning at the edges of your chest, the thing that has nothing to do with revelation or knowledge, or the staggering fact of a lit city. It is something quieter. It is the feeling of having loved something with your whole body, the songs, the lessons, the leaders' portraits, the particular pride of being told you were lucky to be born here, the warmth of believing it, and now, sitting in the dark, watching that love begin to change shape. Not vanish, change shape. You still love the only world you have ever known. You love it the way you love the smell of coal smoke, and the sound of your mother's specific cough through the wall, and the feel of the concrete floor through your thin socks. You love it because it is yours, because it is the only container you have ever been given to put your life in. The screen goes dark. Your neighbor says nothing. She begins to wind the cord carefully around the player. She will hide it inside the false bottom of the wooden chest where her family keeps their approved books, the ones with the correct photographs and the correct lessons. She will do this without speaking, because speaking would make it real in a way that can be overheard, and what cannot be overheard cannot be reported, and what cannot be reported does not have to destroy you. You sit in the dark for a moment before you stand. You will not tell anyone. Not because you understand the danger in the adult way, though the danger is real. The labor camps are real. The neighbors who report their neighbors are real. But because you already sense, at 11, that what just happened to you is something that cannot survive being said out loud. Not here. Not in this room, in this building, on this street, in this city whose power is off, and whose walls are thin, and where someone on every block is always listening. You will go back to school tomorrow. You will say the words at the end of the session. You will look at the portrait, and it will look back at you the way it always has, and all of it will be the same, and none of it will be the same, because you now carry something inside you that has no name in any language you have been given, the knowledge that the world is larger than the shape you were handed, and that someone made the shape that small on purpose, and that you were meant never to know the difference. You stand up. Your knees ache from the concrete. You can hear the street outside. Quiet, dark, ordinary. You have not yet decided anything. You have not yet imagined a river or a border or what it would mean to walk toward the lit city instead of only watching it. But the screen has been inside your eyes now, and you will never again see the dark the same way.